Massive update for XRP investors. Institutional adoption is here. And during today's episode, we're going to show you all how Vanguard just added XRP ETF access to over 50 million clients worldwide, beginning the onboarding process that we've all been waiting for. We're also going to break down how with Vanguard, the second largest asset manager on the planet, signaling it agrees XRP is here to stay. What does this mean for the rest of the industry? Will real-world products be onboarded onto the XRP ledger before or after the Clarity Act? And what's on the horizon when it comes to the allocation of XRP into crypto portfolios worldwide? Bank of America just came out in the last 24 hours and announced that their clients should be allocating 4% of their investment portfolio into digital assets. And with these new amendments, it appears XRP is going to be a staple of people's diversified crypto portfolios. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Good Evening Crypto, your favorite crypto news related channel. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and just based on this ETF news alone, Johnny, we've got plenty of exciting institutional adoption that we're going to cover throughout today's episode. Since these ETFs began trading, we have already seen $740 million worth of XRP being purchased from OTC desks and exchanges worldwide. We also had a 45% reduction in the circulating supply of XRP on exchanges, going down from about 4 billion units in late September to less than 2.6 billion units where we stand today. What does that mean? Major players are purchasing this asset. And I think with companies like Vanguard and Fidelity and Grayscale and Franklin Templeton stepping into the mix and deciding we're going to offer XRP products, this party is just getting started. And when the Clarity Act comes in early 2026, I believe this utility market will get kicked into overdrive. What's your reaction to Vanguard, the world's second largest asset manager, allowing 50 million clients worldwide to get access to XRP ETFs?
So you know what, Abs, at the end of the day, this is why this really matters. When you think about the biggest players of the world, they're the ones that they're managing 401ks. They've got access to significant boomer money. And so these guys are the ones that are going to be picking up the phone. They're going to be calling their clients and they're going to be saying, hey, you know what? You're not going to want to miss out on this. You're going to want to get in. And of course, with a company like Vanguard, if they're telling them you want to be in a piece of this, of course, their clients are going to want to get a piece of this, right? Because at the end of the day, they go to who they trust. And Vanguard is definitely a trusted name in this industry.
I'm beginning to wonder, Johnny, as some of these larger companies see the success of the XRP ETFs that have launched thus far, if this is putting pressure on companies like Fidelity, Vanguard, and BlackRock to be more pro-crypto, because they're missing out on huge amounts of capital that they could be generating for their companies. And with a company like Vanguard, which is again, the second largest company in the American economy when it comes to assets under management, they have validated the industry with this breaking news right here, guys. And if you're excited about it, smash that like button. Let us know some of your thoughts underneath the video. Now, what we are seeing on a macro standpoint is much more bullish momentum in the market overall. Yesterday, we got an announcement from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell saying quantitative tightening is over. The Federal Reserve will begin expanding their balance sheet. And that kicked off last night as the Federal Reserve just pumped $13.5 billion into the U.S. banking system through overnight repos. This is the second largest liquidity injection since COVID and surpasses even the peak dot-com bubble trade. Probably fine. Carry on. And Johnny, what do we see in the price charts? Well, we began to see many of our favorite assets begin to outperform. Bitcoin went from about $84,000 on the price chart to north of $91,000 this morning. We also had XRP trading as low as $1.99, trading at $2.16 just 12 hours later. Like we always talk about, this market is driven by liquidity. And with the Bitcoin cycle correlating perfectly to the debt cycle, like Raul Paul has stated, 2026 is shaping up to be a very optimistic year, not just for XRP investors, but for Bitcoin and altcoin investors overall. Now, my third and final piece of data in regards to the charts and what we're witnessing today, we never got an alt season. Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, none of these projects broke past their all-time highs. And if they did, they barely did it. Ethereum only passed its 2021 all-time high by $250. That's not the euphoric moment that we've all been waiting for. When I look at this alt season price chart here, the most important thing is when alt season kicks in, a high tide raises all boats. And it's not just XRP, it's not just Ethereum. These altcoins across the board will explode. I was here back in 2021, and I remember projects were doing 3, 4, 5x in a matter of days and crashing back down just a couple of days later. These are the moments that we need to prepare for. Prices going down everybody thinks it's over, and they change the narrative with a single headline, and markets rebound. Euphoria is back, and that's what I'm anticipating here towards the back end of 2025. Let us know underneath the video, guys. Do you think we're in a bull market, or do you think we're in a bear market? Johnny, what are your thoughts here?
One of the things that I think I've been looking for is these liquidity events that we've been talking about. And you see the Fed, you know, at the end of the day, this is really what drives everything, is more liquidity coming into the market, more risk on bets, and that money's going to find its way in. I have this weird feeling people are going to look back a month from now, 2 months from now, to this point in time, November and December, and they're going to kick themselves. Looking at the prices that we're seeing today, I mean, when you show the price chart, you can clearly see that XRP just continues to hit a massive support level. Yeah, thank you. Right there, look at that. Like around that $180, $192 range. Look at that thing. Every time it comes there, there are institutions, or there's something buying this up at this pricing. And what happens, Abs, is when there's a lot of fear and you see that price hitting a certain level and not going lower, that's not retail holding that price up. Those are institution or big money holding it up, just setting up for that next leg up when, like I said, everybody's going to look back. If you're not DCing right now, and just for, you know, full disclosure, guys, we're not financial advisors. We don't give financial advice. You know, when you look at it, this is a good support level, Abs, and we're placing a bet here. But I feel like with the money that's going to be coming in, and with 2026 Clarity Act coming, at the reset of the cycle, it just feels like this is the right time to be DCing in.
And even more importantly, Johnny, when you look at the difference between how institutions are interacting with this market as opposed to retail investors, it's not the largest companies on the planet that are calling for a bear market. Once again, it's the smaller retail investors who just entered this space and I believe had some unrealistic expectations. But we're going to begin breaking down the groundbreaking news that we just got this morning as XRP ETFs are officially live on the Vanguard platform. Now, for everybody out there wondering, why is this so important? 50 million new users now have access to XRP ETFs through Vanguard's clientele. This move signals legitimacy for the industry while also attracting long-term investors specifically into the XRP token. You could also see higher demand and investor interest that could increase the value of XRP's current holdings. With that new demand entering the market in correlation with the ETFs having already been launched, this could be that rocket fuel that sends us into the stratosphere, not from a price chart standpoint, but from a demand standpoint as well. Now, it's also important to reference the fact that Vanguard is the world's second largest asset manager with over 9.3 trillion in assets under management. Vanguard's stable capital flow may actually work to stabilize the price of XRP over time by increasing demand that doesn't fluctuate with volatility. And that's something we haven't seen in the crypto space, Johnny. You've been here for a very long time, as have I. We know investor demand and what the price charts are doing, that factors in dramatically to how interested people are in these products. And this is also going to provide a very secure environment for XRP investors. The inclusion of major platform offering XRP, this is a trusted and secure landscape with decades of experience now onboarding XRP clients into the XRP ledger. Starting today, Vanguard will allow XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana ETFs on their platform. And they didn't just add one or two of these products, Johnny. We are seeing a plethora of XRP-related products. We've got Grayscale, we've got Bitwise, we've got Canary Capital. All the major products that you guys can imagine are now available live on Vanguard going forward. And I think, Johnny, not only does this allow investors to get easier access and allows retirement portfolios to get access, it also changes the way that people view this asset class. And although it's not BlackRock, it's the second biggest fish in the sea we are talking about. If you're excited about this, guys, smash that like button. Johnny, what's your reaction here?
Two things here, Abs, that I think are interesting. One, it's going to bring instant credibility to all those users who use that platform who previously didn't have access to it. Now they do. So you can see that opens up the floodgates to those users, right? And it's 50 million plus. That's a big number. So that's also going to help, again, drive demand to these products and take supply off the market, which then I think later is going to help introduce a supply shock to a number of these things. Number two, I think also what nobody's talking about today is now that Vanguard has opened their mind and willing to kind of consider cryptocurrencies, right, on their platform. Right now, they're just allowing people to buy on their platform. But what would make you or stop you from thinking that maybe they're sitting there also thinking, hey, what kind of products can we offer now? Are they going to maybe offer their own ETF somewhere down the road? Are they going to maybe come up with some type of retirement ETF product that's now cryptocurrency basket based. So I think what this means is look for potentially Vanguard to offer not only just what's existing products, but to create a couple of their own out there to want to capture the piece of pie for themselves. So I think that's the two areas that I'm excited about now that Vanguard is in the game. And then the last thing, I should have said three. The last one is competitors are always keeping an eye on their competitors. And BlackRock is watching Vanguard right now. They're going, maybe we need to start thinking about it too. So it wouldn't surprise me if we don't hear something a little down the road later of BlackRock saying, hey, we're joining the party as well. But time will tell.
And Bank of America just stepped in with some more bullish sentiment for the crypto investors as well, as they are now advising clients to allocate up to 4% of their portfolio into digital assets. Now, that's not some small financial investment. That is long-term investors changing the way that they interact with the crypto market. And Johnny, we called for this back in 2024. I'm sure you'll remember this, but many of our listeners will not. Back during the Biden administration, when there was a war on crypto, we said when a pro-crypto administration gets in, all of these institutions will flip at once. And people want to flip at the switch moment for the XRP price chart. That may come as well, right? We may get a euphoric moment due to some mass adoption, due to these new narratives, all correlating into some explosive price action, very similar to what we saw in 2017. And the more I stare at the 2017 price chart, the more I see similarities to what we're going through today. We got a massive liquidity event that took us all the way to a fraction of a penny before reaching nearly $4 in only 240 days. That is 70,000% gains, meaning every $1 you invested, you got $7,000 by the end of the year. That could be on the horizon. But again, we're going to need these major catalysts to play out. And the whole point that I was building up to is that the catalysts have arrived. And with the price charts looking like they're also ready for a major move, it's absolutely clear, Johnny. Retail investors are tapped out while institutions are just stepping in. And eventually, when all this demand correlates to some price action, those retail investors who claim they're out of this market forever will be buying the all-time highs for the XRP price chart. What are your thoughts?
That's exactly right, Abs. They've tapped out right now, and institutions have tapped in. They know this is the time to be buying. And, when you see some company like Bank of America suggesting 4% of of your portfolio should be in here, that's a huge I mean, that sounds like a small number, but it's not. That's a big number if you think of 4% of investors in a portion of their portfolio in the market getting put into crypto. That is actually a very, very healthy amount coming in, Abs. And we know there's a very tiny amount of people actually even invested in crypto today. So imagine that number getting bigger, and then that number putting in 4% of their money into this space becomes a very, very, and that's where I'm talking about. This is why, like right now, this whole supply shock thing that I'm talking about, as right now the ETFs are taking supply off the shelf. The reason why that matters is because later when all that other money comes in, right now supply left and price goes upward. And I think that's what's going to happen. And you nailed it rightly. At the end of the day, the institutions are going to be getting the bargains right now at this price, and the retailers are going to be paying a much, much, much higher price to basically be the exit liquidity for anybody who's buying in right now. And so Abs, at the end of the day, guys, this is not financial advice, and we are not financial advisors. But when you just look at the way things are starting to come together, it just feels like, my God, when you look at these charts, it's like, yeah, you can see where the buying opportunities are. But what do we also know at this very moment in time? Look at the fear and greed index. Retail is scared, right? And guess what? This is when institutions are buying, and we've retrained our brain, Abs, here. We know this is when we want to be buying. And guys, all we can tell you is do your own research, do your own homework, but certain times just seems like it makes sense.
Absolutely. And with this major price action having yet to correlate with this institutional adoption, one thing is clear: we are here before that moment. Yes. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave your 2025 peak XRP price prediction below. We'll see you all in the next one.
Good night.
So if you're looking to do the same strategies that we implement here on Good Evening Crypto, I would advise everybody sign up for Merlin and click on the ITrust Capital link below. Now, why did these two ideas play off one another? Merlin is going to allow our listeners to understand where they should be taking profit in this market, and ITrust is going to allow our listeners to take that profit tax-free through an IRA product. Now, that's not the best part about this. We are giving new clients a $100 sign-up bonus using the promo code GEC9. So I would encourage everybody, Click on the link below the video, use promo code GEC9, and set yourself up for success during this crypto bull market.